So Terence Crawford defeats Shawn Porter by TKO, as I predicted. I said Shawn Porter will start off strong, and Terence Crawford will get better and better as the rounds go on, and he would TKO him or win by unanimous decision. So you
can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
And I didn't like the way that Kenny Porter went up there and threw Shawn under the bus. He was like, Shawn wasn't preparing correctly. Shawn wasn't training right. Because, come on, I know that's not true. I know Shawn is a hard worker. He comes to fight every time. He comes to win every time. And that's why he's called Showtime Shawn Porter. Because every single one of his fights is competitive. And he's coming to win. And he came to win last night. And, he was winning the early rounds like I said he would, so he was preparing. He did his usual thing. But I knew Terence Crawford had the more skills, and he was going to make better adjustments, and he was going to land in cleaner shots, and that's what he did. So I don't like the way Kenny Porter threw him under the bus, but Shawn Porter is now retired. He had a great career. I respect him so much. He fought everybody. He always brought a good fight, and I'm going to miss him in the sport, but, I appreciate the moments we had watching him against Errol Spence, against Crawford, etc., etc. He had a great career, and he's a legend. And somebody else we saw was Errol Spence Jr. He was in the crowd. After the stoppage was made, he shook his head and left the arena. And I've seen a lot of crazy fans saying, oh, he's scared of Crawford, he left the arena. But I mean, if you've been to a big-time event, people leave the arena early all the time so they could beat the traffic, so they could beat the big crowds. Now imagine what you do at a regular game, but you're a celebrity or a famous person who a lot of people know. Like in boxing, he's pretty famous in the boxing community, so everybody knows Errol Spence. So he's trying to get out there and beat the crowds and beat all that traffic. So, it is what it is. He didn't shake his head because he was hating on Crawford. He shook his head because he thought it was a bad stoppage, like everybody did. He didn't think Kenny Porter should have stopped the fight. And you can see this if you just look up some YouTube videos. People were asking him questions after the fight. He said he thought his daddy stopped it early. He even tweeted that on Twitter. He said, I wouldn't pay my daddy. But, it is what it is. You can't say Errol Spence is ducking him. Terence Crawford was with Bob Arum. They haven't been doing any big fights in the welterweight division, but now he's finally got his big fight. And now that they both have a common opponent and Terence Crawford fought a big name like Shawn Porter, I really think this fight's going to happen next. There's no reason this fight shouldn't happen. And Terence Crawford just went straight savage. He basically said he was leaving Bob Arum right in front of Bob Arum's face. He did not hold back. He didn't hesitate to say that. He said he's moving forward. He's saying Bob Arum couldn't get him to fight with Errol Spence, So, Terence Crawford, he's really moving forward. He should have moved forward a long time ago. There's no reason you should stay with this guy, Bob Arum, who said you're wasting his money. He could have built a house in Beverly Hills, or this guy can't sell. It's not Terence Crawford's job, really, to sell the fight. He's a boxer. His job is to get in the ring and perform, and that's what he does every time. Bob Arum, you were the promoter. It's not Terence Crawford's job to promote the fight. It's your job to promote it. So you saying that he can't sell, it's you who can't sell the fight because you're not promoting the fight good enough. So don't be hating on Terence Crawford because of that. And that's why I'm happy Terence Crawford is leaving. It's time to move on. Go to a promoter who will get you these big fights. And that's a big factor why I think this fight's going to happen in 2022 next year because he's leaving Bob Arum. There will be no more excuses for this fight not to happen. He fought a top-ranking individual in Shawn Porter, and there's no more excuses for this fight not to happen, to be honest. I mean, the fight is set up perfectly, Errol Spence, he was at the fight. Terence Crawford, he was talking trash about Spence, saying he wants him next. Errol Spence, he's always said he'll fight Bud. They both agreed they will fight each other one day. This is perfect timing, Errol Spence is not ducking. The way you guys are saying he's ducking, he's not. If you watch guys like Canelo, he's not going to say, get the F out of here. He's a horrible fighter. No, he said, I'm going to fight Bud. I'm going to fight Bud. He didn't say, get the F out of here. You're a horrible fighter. He said, I'm going to fight Bud. So he's not ducking anybody. He's bringing up his name because he wants this fight. I mean, do you guys realize this would be the biggest fight in a long time? No Canelo fight can beat how much pay-per-views this fight would sell. Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence is the biggest fight in boxing right now. And the only one that can compete with that, I would say, would be Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. I feel like that would sell a lot, too. But, this is the biggest fight in boxing. This is what the fans want to see. We know these guys are the best of the best. These are the top 2 pound-for-pound fighters, in my opinion. And, we just got to make this fight happen soon. 2022, I saw Errol Spence post a picture of him and Terence Crawford, an edited picture of them in the ring. And Terence Crawford, he wants to fight. He was talking about Errol Spence in the ring. He called him out pretty much. So I think this fight is being set up right now. It's perfect. There's no other fight that could happen. And I truly do believe the next fight for Errol Spence Jr. will be against Terence Crawford, and the next fight for Terence Crawford will be against Errol Spence Jr. So let's get it. So yeah, I posted a poll earlier. Go vote on that poll. I said who would win if this fight happens next, Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. So make sure to go check out that poll in the community tab on my channel. It's my first poll I posted. I'm interested to see who you think will win this fight. I have no idea, man. That's a really hard thing to choose, Errol Spence, he's good too. I feel like all y'all are gonna forget how good Errol Spence was because of the recency bias, because Terence Crawford fought more recently than he did. But these are both bad men. They both beat Shawn Porter. And Errol Spence can fight, and Terence Crawford's a bad man. So, it should be a hell of a fight. You can comment below who you think's gonna win as well. But as always, hopefully we get this fight. I'm telling you guys, I feel it coming this time. I think this fight's gonna happen because there's no other fight that makes sense. So, if we get the fight, we do. If we don't, we don't. But keep your hopes up. Hopefully we can get that fight. So, as always, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share the video so somebody else can see. It's your boy JPJ the Great, and I'm checking out. Peace.